February 26, 1945. A 19-year-old Marine with no decorations and a two-man weapon he has never fired alone is about to do something that defies explanation. In 2 hours, 75 enemy soldiers will be dead. 16 fortified positions will cease to exist. 1 tank will burn. And the most fortified hill on Iwo Jima, a volcanic nightmare that has consumed entire companies, will fall. 1 man, 1 bazooka, 2 hours. This is not mythology. This is what happened on Hill 382. The volcanic ash is black, coarse, and it swallows boots to the ankle with every step. It offers no cover, no concealment, only resistance. Each movement forward requires twice the effort it should. The air smells of sulfur, burnt powder, and something worse, something organic and wrong. The sky above Iwo Jima is gray, choked with smoke from naval bombardment, from burning tanks, from the funeral pyres of metal and men that litter the island's northern approaches. The sound is constant. Artillery shells scream overhead. Machine gun fire chatters in overlapping bursts. Somewhere to the left, a Marine is screaming for a corpsman. Somewhere to the right, a flamethrower team is trying to advance and failing. Hill 382 rises ahead like a malignant tumor on the landscape, gray-brown rock and ash, pockmarked with cave mouths and firing slits that do not look like structures at all until they erupt with gunfire. The Marines call it the meat grinder. They call it that because men go in and do not come out, or come out in pieces, or come out changed in ways that have no language. The hill is not tall. It is just under 400 feet at its highest point, but height is irrelevant. What matters is what Lieutenant General Kuribayashi has done to it. For 8 months, Kuribayashi has transformed Iwo Jima into a subterranean fortress, and Hill 382 is the crown jewel of his design. The hill is not a hill. It is a weapon. Beneath its surface lies a maze of tunnels, reinforced with concrete and steel, connected by passages that allow Japanese soldiers to move unseen, to reinforce positions under attack, to vanish and reappear. Pillboxes are not visible until you are 20 yards away and already dead. Machine gun nests are dug in at angles that create interlocking fields of fire, so that advancing on one position exposes you to 3 others. Artillery observers are hidden in crevices that give them sight lines across the entire western slope. Mortar crews operate from pits connected to escape tunnels. When you destroy one position, another opens fire from a place you have already cleared. American intelligence has catastrophically underestimated this. They said Iwo Jima would fall in 5 days. It has been 5 days, and the Marines are still dying on Hill 382. Tanks have burned here. Sherman tanks, 30 tons of armor and firepower, reduced to smoking husks because the volcanic ash cannot support their weight, and the Japanese have prepared for them. Flamethrower teams have been killed before reaching their targets, cut down in the open, their fuel tanks detonating in bursts of orange fire. Entire squads have been wiped out without ever seeing the enemy, killed by gunfire that seems to come from the island itself. Private First Class Douglas Jacobson is 19 years old. He is from Rochester, New York. He has no decorations. He is not a squad leader. He is not a scout. He is not special. He is a rifleman with Company I, 3rd Battalion, 23rd Marines, 4th Marine Division, and on the morning of February 26, 1945, at 0900 hours, he is advancing up the western slope of Hill 382 with the rest of his company, and everything is going wrong. The company is pinned down. Ahead, a 2-man bazooka team is trying to move forward, trying to reach a position where they can engage a Japanese 20mm anti-aircraft gun that is dug in and firing at the Marine line with devastating effect. The gun is not meant for infantry. It is meant for aircraft, but the Japanese are using it to tear apart advancing Marines, and its position is anchoring an entire defensive network. If the gun is not destroyed, the assault will collapse. Company, I will have to withdraw. The meat grinder will hold. The bazooka team does not make it. The 20mm gun opens fire and both Marines are killed instantly, their bodies crumpling into the ash. The bazooka, a heavy tube designed to be operated by 2 men, one to aim and fire, one to load, falls to the ground in open terrain. The remaining rockets scatter nearby. Jacobson sees this. He is 30 yards back in a shallow depression that offers almost no protection. Around him, Marines are hugging the ground, trying to become smaller, trying not to be the next target. The gunfire is unrelenting. Bullets snap overhead with sharp cracks. Mortar rounds are dropping in irregular patterns, close enough that each detonation sends shrapnel singing through the air. The heat from the explosions is palpable even at a distance. The smell of cordite is thick. The bazooka is lying there, exposed, useless, and the anti-aircraft gun is still firing. Jacobson makes a decision that has no logic, no tactical precedent, no reasonable chance of success. He is going to get the bazooka. He is going to use it. Alone. He does not ask permission. There is no time. He does not announce his intention. He simply moves. He pushes himself up from the ash and he runs. The distance is not far, but distance is relative under fire. 30 yards in open ground in volcanic ash that fights every step, under the observation of an enemy that has spent 8 months preparing to kill anyone who moves, is an eternity. Jacobson runs low, but there is no cover, no concealment. He is visible. The Japanese see him. Rifle fire cracks past him. He hears the snap of bullets, the strange insect whine of near misses. He does not stop. He reaches the bazooka. He drops to one knee, grabs the weapon, slings his rifle, and begins gathering rockets. His hands are shaking, not from fear, though fear is present, from adrenaline, from the body's involuntary response to imminent death. He stuffs rockets into his pack, into his belt, wherever they will fit. He does not count them. He does not have time. A mortar round detonates 15 yards to his right. The concussion slaps him sideways. Ash and debris rain down. His ears are ringing. He cannot hear properly. Everything sounds muffled, distant, like he is underwater. He gets to his feet. He lifts the bazooka. It is heavy, awkward, not designed for one man. He does not care. He turns toward the anti-aircraft gun. The position is a reinforced emplacement, partially dug into the hillside with a narrow firing slit. The crew is invisible. Only the barrel is visible and it is tracking toward him. Jacobson does not have time to find cover. He does not have time to set up properly. He drops to one knee, braces the bazooka against his shoulder, loads a rocket with shaking hands, aims, and fires. The backblast is tremendous. A jet of flame and gas erupts behind him, scorching the air. The rocket leaves the tube with a whoosh, a sound like tearing fabric, and streaks toward the emplacement. It hits. The explosion is sharp, loud, a crack followed by a roiling cloud of smoke and dust. For a moment, Jacobson cannot see the result. Then the smoke clears. The anti-aircraft gun is silent. The crew is dead. The position is destroyed. Jacobson does not celebrate. He does not feel relief. He feels nothing except the weight of the bazooka and the knowledge that there are more positions, more guns, more enemies. He can see them now, or at least he can see where they are firing from. To his left, a machine gun nest is raking the Marine line. Ahead and slightly uphill, a mortar pit is dropping rounds with methodical precision. Further right, another pillbox, another firing slit, another source of death. He moves toward the machine gun nest. This is not a coordinated assault. This is not part of a plan. Jacobson is acting alone, operating on instinct and will. He is moving through a battlefield that is designed to kill him, toward enemies who are entrenched and waiting, and he is doing it with a weapon that requires him to stop, kneel, load, aim, and fire, exposing himself completely with every shot. The machine gun nest is built into a rocky outcrop, camouflaged with ash and debris. The firing slit is narrow, difficult to hit. Jacobson approaches from an angle the defenders do not expect, moving along a slight depression in the terrain, using the landscape to mask his approach until the last possible moment. When he is close enough, he stops, loads, aims, and fires. The rocket punches through the firing slit and detonates inside. The explosion is contained, channeled by the concrete and rock. The result is catastrophic for anyone inside. The machine gun stops firing. Smoke pours from the slit. Jacobson does not wait to confirm the kill. He is already moving. The Marines behind him are beginning to understand what is happening. Some are advancing, using the chaos Jacobson is creating to push forward. Others are simply watching, unable to process what they are seeing. One Marine with a bazooka does not assault fortified positions alone. It is not possible, but Jacobson is doing it. He moves to the mortar pit. This position is more exposed, less fortified, but the crew is disciplined and experienced. They see him coming. They try to depress the mortar tube to fire directly at him, but mortars are not designed for direct fire, and Jacobson is too close, moving too fast. He fires the bazooka from 20 yards. The rocket hits the edge of the pit and detonates. The crew is killed instantly. The mortar tube is thrown sideways, twisted and useless. Jacobson is out of rockets. He drops the bazooka and unslings his rifle. Ahead, a rifle pit is firing at the advancing Marines. He moves toward it, using the terrain, staying low. When he is close enough, he pulls a grenade from his belt, pulls the pin, counts, and throws. The grenade arcs through the air and lands in the pit. The explosion is followed by silence. He needs more rockets. The bazooka is more effective than grenades, more effective than rifle fire. It is the only weapon that can reliably destroy the fortified positions that are holding Hill 382. But the rockets are back where the original bazooka team fell, or scattered across the battlefield, or with the supply point further down the slope. Jacobson turns and runs back down the hill through the same killing ground he has already crossed twice. Bullets crack past him. Mortar rounds detonate nearby. He reaches a supply point, a shallow crater where ammunition has been stockpiled, and grabs as many rockets as he can carry. He does not count them. He does not rest. He turns and runs back up the hill. This pattern repeats. Advance. Identify a target. Load, fire, destroy. Move to the next target. Run out of rockets. Return under fire. Resupply. Advance again. Each trip is a gamble. Each shot is an exposure. The Japanese are trying to kill him. They are firing at him specifically. He is a target, a threat, a single Marine who is dismantling their defensive network position by position. But Jacobson is moving, always moving, and movement is survival. He destroys a pillbox. He destroys another machine gun nest. He destroys an observation post, a critical position that has been directing mortar and artillery fire onto the Marines below. With the observers dead, the Japanese fire becomes less accurate, less coordinated. The defensive network is beginning to fracture. He encounters a Type 95 Hago light tank, partially hidden in a revetment. The tank is small, lightly armored by tank standards, but it is still a tank, and it is firing its main gun at the Marines below. Jacobson approaches from the side where the tank's armor is thinnest and its visibility is poorest. He fires a rocket. It hits the tank's side but does not penetrate. The tank is damaged, disabled, but not destroyed. The crew is still inside, still dangerous. Jacobson loads another rocket, aims more carefully, and fires again. This time the rocket penetrates. The explosion inside the tank is muffled, contained. Smoke begins pouring from the hatches. The tank is silent. He moves on. Time loses meaning. Minutes stretch into hours. The sun climbs higher and the heat becomes oppressive. The volcanic ash reflects the heat, turning the slope into a furnace. Jacobson is drenched in sweat. His uniform is caked with ash and dirt. His hands are blistered from loading rockets, from gripping the bazooka, from the constant friction of metal and heat. His shoulder is bruised from the bazooka's recoil. His ears are ringing so badly that he cannot hear properly anymore. Everything sounds distant, muted, like he is wrapped in cotton. He is exhausted. His legs are shaking. His vision is starting to blur at the edges. He is dehydrated, running on adrenaline and will, but he does not stop. He cannot stop. There are still positions firing. There are still Marines dying. And as long as he can move, as long as he can load and fire, he will continue. He destroys another rifle pit, another pillbox, another machine gun nest. He is no longer counting. He is simply reacting, identifying threats and eliminating them. The bazooka has become an extension of his body. Load, aim, fire, move. The rhythm is mechanical, repetitive, almost meditative. The Japanese defenders are beginning to break. The loss of so many positions so quickly has disrupted their entire defensive plan. Kuribayashi's system relies on interlocking fields of fire, on mutual support, on positions covering each other. But Jacobson has been attacking from unexpected angles, flanking positions that were designed to be impregnable from the front, using the terrain and the chaos to his advantage. With each position destroyed, the network weakens. Gaps appear. Fields of fire collapse. The defenders are isolated, cut off, unable to support each other. The Marines are advancing. Company I is moving up the slope, supported by units from the 24th Marines. They are using the openings Jacobson has created, pushing through the gaps in the defensive line. Tanks are moving forward, now that the anti-tank positions have been neutralized. Flamethrower teams are reaching their targets. The assault that was collapsing 2 hours ago is now succeeding. Jacobson destroys his 16th position. It is another machine gun nest dug into the hillside, covering the final approach to the summit. He fires the bazooka. The rocket hits. The position is destroyed. The gun falls silent. And then suddenly, it is over. The summit of Hill 382 is in American hands. The Japanese defenders are dead, or retreating through the tunnels, or trapped in positions that are now cut off and useless. The Marines are consolidating, digging in, preparing for the inevitable counterattack. But the hill has fallen. The anchor of Kuribayashi's defensive system is broken. Jacobson stands on the slope, breathing hard, barely able to stand. His legs are trembling. His hands are shaking so badly he can barely hold the bazooka. He lowers it to the ground gently, almost reverently, and then sits down in the ash. He does not have the strength to stand anymore. Around him, Marines are moving past, advancing toward the summit. Some glance at him. Some nod. One stops and offers him a canteen. Jacobson drinks, the water warm and metallic, but the most welcome thing he has ever tasted. His throat is raw. His mouth tastes of ash and sulfur and blood from where he has bitten his lip without realizing it. He looks back down the slope at the positions he has destroyed. Smoke is rising from a dozen places. Bodies are scattered in the ash. The Type 95 tank is still burning, a black column of smoke rising into the gray sky. The landscape looks like the surface of another planet, hostile and dead. Jacobson has destroyed 16 fortified positions. He has killed approximately 75 Japanese defenders. He has disabled and destroyed a tank. He has done this alone over the course of 2 hours, with a weapon designed for 2 men, under fire that should have killed him a dozen times over. He has suffered exhaustion, dehydration, and minor injuries. Nothing serious, nothing that will not heal. He does not feel like a hero. He feels tired. He feels empty. He feels like he has used up something inside himself that he will never get back. But he is alive. His company is advancing. Hill 382 has fallen. That is enough. The battle for Iwo Jima will continue for another month. Thousands more will die before the island is secured. Kuribayashi will retreat to the island's northern caves and fight until nearly every Japanese defender is dead. The cost of Iwo Jima will be staggering, a casualty rate that shocks even the battle-hardened Marines who fought there. But Hill 382, the anchor of the defensive system, the meat grinder, will not stop the American advance. Because on February 26, 1945, one Marine refused to stop. Douglas Jacobson will be awarded the Medal of Honor by President Harry Truman on October 5, 1945. He will stand in the White House in a clean uniform and receive the nation's highest military decoration for his actions on Hill 382. The citation will describe what he did, the positions destroyed, the lives saved, the impossible made real. Truman will shake his hand and call him a hero. Jacobson will accept the medal with quiet humility. He will not feel like a hero. He will feel like a Marine who did what needed to be done, who saw a problem and solved it, who refused to let his brothers die if there was anything he could do to stop it. He will carry the weight of that day for the rest of his life, not with pride, though pride is there, but with a kind of somber understanding of what war costs and what it reveals about people. He will re-enlist after the war. He will become an officer, rising to the rank of major despite lacking a high school diploma, a testament to his leadership and his character. He will serve his country for decades quietly, without fanfare. When he retires, he will return to civilian life and disappear into the background, just another veteran among millions. He will die in the year 2000. He will be buried at Arlington National Cemetery in Section 60, among the honored dead. His headstone will bear his name, his rank, his dates of service, and the words Medal of Honor. Visitors will pause at his grave, read the inscription, and wonder what kind of man could do what Douglas Jacobson did on Hill 382. The answer is simpler and more complex than most people imagine. He was not superhuman. He was not fearless. He was a 19-year-old kid from Rochester who found himself in a situation where his brothers were dying and he had the means to stop it. So he did. He picked up a bazooka and he fought, not because he wanted glory, not because he sought recognition, but because it needed to be done and no one else was doing it. That is the essence of courage, not the absence of fear, but action in the presence of it. Not seeking danger, but meeting it when it comes. Not waiting for someone else to solve the problem, but stepping forward and solving it yourself, regardless of the cost. Hill 382 fell because one Marine refused to stop. 75 enemy soldiers died because one Marine would not accept defeat. 16 fortified positions were destroyed because one Marine saw what needed to be done and did it, alone under fire for 2 hours, until the job was finished. This is not mythology. This is not exaggeration. This is history, documented and verified, witnessed by dozens of Marines who were there, who saw it happen, who lived because Douglas Jacobson fought. War is horror. War is waste. War is tragedy on a scale that defies comprehension. But within that horror, occasionally, something emerges that is worth remembering. Not because it glorifies war, but because it reveals something essential about human beings, about what we are capable of when pushed to the absolute limit, about the extraordinary things ordinary people can do when everything depends on it. Douglas Jacobson was ordinary, and that is what makes his story extraordinary. He was not born a hero. He became one for 2 hours on a volcanic slope because the situation demanded it, and he answered. The Marines who fought on Iwo Jima, who climbed Hill 382, who survived the meat grinder, carried those memories for the rest of their lives. Some spoke about it. Most did not. The weight was too heavy, the cost too high. But they remembered Douglas Jacobson. They remembered what he did. And in their silence, in their refusal to forget, they honored him more profoundly than any medal ever could. History remembers the famous battles. Iwo Jima is famous. The flag raising on Mount Suribachi is one of the most iconic images of the war. But Hill 382 is less well known. The meat grinder does not have the same cultural resonance. And Douglas Jacobson, despite his Medal of Honor, is not a household name. But he should be, because his story is a reminder that history is not made only by generals and admirals, not only by grand strategies and massive operations. History is made by individuals, by ordinary people who find themselves in extraordinary circumstances and rise to meet them. History is made by a 19-year-old Marine who picked up a bazooka and refused to stop until the job was done. That is the story of Hill 382. That is the story of Douglas Jacobson. And it is a story worth remembering, not because it glorifies war, but because it honors the courage, the endurance, and the sacrifice of those who fought. If you found this story powerful, please subscribe to this channel. Please like this video. Please leave a comment sharing your thoughts. And here is a question for you to consider. When you hear stories of courage like this, of ordinary people doing extraordinary things under unimaginable pressure, what does it make you think about the limits of human endurance and the nature of heroism? Are heroes born, or are they made in moments when there is no other choice? Share your thoughts below.